How's it going, everyone? Before here, welcome to Heliopolis Radio. Today, we've been fortunate to be joined by Dr. Nicole Bradford. She's a speaker, author, and an entrepreneur, and she's here to tell us a bit about herself, the F.L.A.S.H method, which she's developed, that helps us kind of cleansing our own lives and restructuring it around our goals, our dreams, ambitions, truthfully and authentically. So, this is a passion of hers, and for those of you that maybe feel you have a more entrepreneurial spirit, then I think this is the right person to be listening to. And so without further ado, I could hand it over to you. Tell us about yourself. What is it that you love to do?
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I'm so excited to be here. I am the owner and operator of Maintain the Flame, and it's a company that inspires and motivates others to design the life that they desire. Because when we were younger, we had this excitement and vigor for life, but then as we transition into our adulthood, we tend to try to conform into the world and we stand out less and we do things to please others and not ourselves. And so, what Maintain the Flame, the company was designed to have you go back and reignite your flame for life. What gave you passion, excitement, and desire so that you can authentically walk in your truth and design the life that you desire.
And so coming to that, is this something that you've always known when you were a younger child, that you are the type of person that was going to forge their own path? Or is it something that maybe occurred to you later on in life?
I think it was a little bit of both because I've always been different my entire life. I've had so much energy and excitement. And when I was growing up, a lot of people, oh my gosh, she's so hyper. But I just always saw the positive in life. And I was so excited to share new things with everyone else. And true story, the way that I actually got into speaking, public speaking, and working with others is that I actually was in a pageant. And I
Mm.
had never been in a beauty pageant before, never really had any desire. But when I went to college, they had a lot of those going on. And so I went back home to Austin and I tried the first time around and I didn't win. But then they encouraged my parents to have me to come back. I
Mm.
did it the second time around and I was the first African American to be named Miss Austin. And so that gave me
Wow.
the platform that I needed to go out and connect with individuals, speak at graduations, different events. And I just love the ability to work with individuals, to connect with people and inspire them for greatness and understanding that your passion and your purpose is on the inside. And all you have to do is just tweak your mindset a little bit and see the greatness inside of you so that you can share it with the world.
And Percy is I mean, gifted speaker for sure. So well spoken.
And
So I can tell like
thank
you definitely it was by divine design that you moved
yes.
to this calling. But and obviously to do that as an African American, I know historically, beauty pageants, and I don't know how that kind of works, but from the outside looking
Yes.
in, I would understand that there may have been a bit of a racial bias at some point in time. So for you to come in and to achieve that for yourself, I can imagine just how much of a confidence shift it was in terms of how you viewed yourself and everything. And so I guess I was going to ask the longing for personal freedom. Why do you think us as people have it? Do you think it's inherent in everyone, or it's just something that occurs circumstantially? How do you feel it comes about in individuals? Because everyone's different. Freedom means a completely different thing in my mind than it does in yours. So I guess
Correct.
maybe I extend
Correct.
that question to you.
Mhm. Well, I would say yes, the longing, and like you said, it depends on different individuals what they're longing for. Because for me, freedom is happiness and peace, and being able to do the things that I believe are in line with my purpose and my calling. And I think once you plug into the correct source, like you said, divine intervention and understanding that I have a purpose for you, and when you understand your purpose in life and you fall in line with His word then you're able to experience that peace that surpasses all understanding. So when people are looking at you and you're like, oh my gosh, I heard what you're going through, but you have this peace that is just covering your
Mm,
life. So you're able to walk through. And I think that is just comes at different periods in our lives. We may be struggling with different situations, personal, professional, financial.
mm,
And I think when we get to the point that we're able to experience that freedom, it gives us the opportunity to, say, no matter what comes my way, I'm going to be at peace and I'm going to be able to move through this situation so that I can see the greater good on the other side.
Powerful, powerful. And I guess you've written a book, which is a very not an easy thing to do. And so I guess I was gonna ask you what inspired you to write and what did you want to put into this book that you wanted other people to receive from the core?
Mhm. Well, the title of the book is My Soul is Not for Sale. And a lot of people ask me, why that title and why did you write the book? I believe that God placed the title in me many, many years ago, because as I talked about at the beginning, we go into our adult world, but we are transitioning and it's easy just to conform and not to
Mm,
stick out and be different than everyone. And what I've learned going into my professional workspace and relationships that I've had, so many people want you to compromise who you are to
mm,
fit in. And so you have to get to the point that say, my soul is not for sale. If I see something's wrong, and for me, being in the field of education, when I see students are being wronged or
mm,
not being treated fairly, it's inside of me that I must speak up. And speaking up sometimes is not popular. And so
mm,
the reason why I wrote the book, My Soul is Not for Sale, removing the lies, the labels, and limitations, is to let other people know that you're not alone. If you
mm,
have this fire inside of you and you know that the decision that's being made with your company is not correct and you want to say something, I provide strategies that you can utilize to have a voice in the workplace. If it's in your relationship, and individuals are trying to force you to accept things that you know that does not serve you right. There are
mm,
strategies to guide you along the way. And for me, I think it's just great because I utilize stories of different companies where
mm,
people were whistleblowers and people had the strength and the courage to stand up and say, even though everyone else is going along with this, my soul is not for sale. And this is something I choose not to compromise. And so
mm,
the message I wanted to put out into the world and to others is that it's okay to be different.
mm,
It's okay to speak up for what's right because in the end, not only are you able to stand in your truth, but you're okay with yourself. You're able to be authentic for yourself and what you believe. And you also are able to establish non-negotiables so
mm.
that you can have the life that you feel comfortable with and that you desire.
Wow, that's very, very, very well spoken again. And I
Thank you.
guess the big question around that obviously is how do you deal in disappointing others once you end up living in alignment with yourself and in your own personal life, what type of, I guess, mental disciplines did you develop within yourself to say that if no one is willing to follow the same path that I am,
Mhm.
particularly in an entrepreneurial space, we all, there are a lot of concerns about when you start a business, a lot of things. There's just
Yes.
a lot of concerns that our world supposedly it's going through more of it now than ever because of the situations we're in. So the
Yes.
fear of rejection is a big one for everyone, including myself. So how have you managed to find the internal strength to embrace that fear of rejection and disappointment and failure because failure is a thing. Nothing
That's right.
works easy, nothing comes easy. So failure is a massive
Mhm.
thing we all struggle to deal with. How have you in your own life managed to, I guess, handle those setbacks, handle those disappointments, and handle the loneliness of deciding to live life the way you've chosen to do it?
Yes. I guess the number one reason that way that I've been able to accept that is understanding that you have to be okay with yourself. If you're not okay with yourself, no matter what people say about you or how people perceive you, that's going to shift. And then you'll continue to try to be everything to everyone and you're never being true to yourself. And you got to think about it. There's one person that's going to be with you always and forever. And we all know our Lord and Savior, and then also yourself. You're the only person that you're going to
Mm,
have to live with forever and ever. And you have to be okay with that. And when you're thinking about that, as long as you're okay with yourself, when you experience rejection, you have to understand there is a different way of looking at it. You can look at rejection as if, oh my gosh, it's over for me. I'm done. I'm never doing that again. Or you can look at it as, this is something that I can grow from. This is something that I can learn from, and always try to find the positive in the situation. And not only that, but we've all heard rejection is God's protection. And so just because some people may reject you, that may not be the person for you, or a job does not accept you and they reject you. It's because he has something greater for you. And if you're not in line with him and you don't believe and trust him, then you'll internalize that, and then it'll help you to be down and out in that situation. But the most important lesson we need to learn is without failure, there is no growth. And
Mm.
so you must fail. But when you fail, you have to fail forward, learn from that situation, and take the positives from that situation so you're able to move and grow. And as you talked about at the beginning, in my book, I talk about the F.L.A.S.H method. And
Mm.
this is a method that my sister, she's deceased now, but
Mm.
she used to always tell me as
Condolences.
I was going, oh,
Condolences to you and your family.
thank you. But as she would go through situations in life, she would come to me and she would say, Nicole, when you're going through things, I want you to remember to write it down. You know, she told me to get a piece of toilet paper. You don't necessarily have to do that part, but you write down everything that you're going through. You write down the good, the bad, the frustrations, the things you're angry with. But most importantly, you need to write down your role in that situation. What part did you take in that situation? Being accountable for your role. And once you're able to write it down, review it, read over it, reflect it, then you ball it up and you toss it. F.L.A.S.H means facing life's uncomfortable situation so that you can heal. If we're
Mm.
not willing to go through that process of facing what we're dealing, finding out the good and the bad, seeing how we can actually grow from this situation, we're not going to be able to move forward and be better off for it. So all trials and tribulations is number one, an opportunity for you to be a testimony to someone else
Mm.
that may have that same problem down the road. But also number two is for you to grow stronger in your religion in Christ, and also in yourself, and knowing that if I've overcome things in the past, I most definitely can overcome this situation, and just take it one day at a time.
Beautifully spoken, and very, very uplifting soul that you have. Yeah, no, quick pause. I need to consider. I mean, yeah, we went into a pretty deep space there, but no, you mentioned what the F.L.A.S.H method was, so thank you. That was my next question.
Okay.
And would you say this path is for everyone? Because a lot of the times, sometimes people are good where they're at. Sometimes stepping out that boundary could be maybe a mistake for someone because where they are is perfectly fine. You meet people that are okay with the 9 to 5. You meet people that are
Yes.
very content and they don't really want more. And I actually find those people quite amazing. Very, very, very,
Yes.
very amazing. But would you say from your own journey that this is for everyone, or is it something that's simply within you? And it's your job to either embrace it or not.
I think that everyone has the opportunity to pursue it, but I think it also goes back to what you say. It's up to you to embrace it or not. I could have just been complacent or content, staying at a 9 to 5, getting a check and doing great in life. But there's more that I want to do personally to connect with other people and inspire people. I know sometimes when I share my stories and the things that I've been through, a lot of people are like, oh, that's personal, that's too deep, you probably
Mm.
shouldn't do that, that's not fair to your family. But I believe in my heart that God didn't allow me to go through things just for Nicole. There's
Mm.
someone out there that has a longing for more. There's someone out there that has been rejected and has wanted to have the courage to speak up, but they were too afraid. And so I use my life to help inspire others. But for those that are content with 9 to 5, that's great for them, as long as they have that peace and happiness in their soul. But stepping out on faith and being an entrepreneur, it's not easy, because
Mm.
you're able to put your work aside at 5 o'clock, but when you're working for yourself, you have to continue to be motivated, you have to
Mm.
continue to push forward. Even when people don't believe in you, you must be a champion and an advocate for yourself and continue to move forward. I watched one documentary of a young lady, and she talked about her dad, and he had passed, and he told
Mm.
her, live full and die empty. And so
Mm.
when you have that entrepreneurial spirit, you're putting everything on the table. You're enjoying your life, you're taking the good and your bad and the bad that comes in life so you can live a full life. And when it's time for you to be called home, you're able to say, I've done everything that I could. I've
Mm.
put it on the table. I've connected and I've motivated and I've inspired others. And I didn't leave any regrets or anything on the table left to do.
Beautifully said. No, that's really, really beautifully said again. And I guess my question is, in terms of reaching out to you, obviously I'm based in South Africa, the beauty of the internet. So,
Yes.
your story obviously reaches a wider net once you start doing these podcasts as with, I don't know how many people you interview or who've interviewed you, but again, your story extends beyond just your borders. And so in the future or currently, do you have a program or a means of people outside of the US to contact you, maybe to reach out with you? And if it's perhaps a business network, this side of individuals that would want to work with you, that side, obviously geographically they can't do it, but they'll still like to be in touch with you. Is there any means of communication or any lines of communication that you prefer people use to reach out to you?
Oh, most definitely. They can always go to my website. It's www.maintaintheflame.net. And on there, you can find my books. You can find out how to work with me one on one for coaching or also for speaking opportunities online or in person as well. And then on social media, I am on Facebook as well as Instagram, and it's just Maintain the Flame.
Thank you. So I will put that in the link in description and I'll also put it in the video once the final edit is done for those of you who are interested. Please do reach out. And I do assume the book is available on Amazon. So we have finally
Yes.
Amazon's here in South Africa, so people should be able to access it.
Yes, most definitely. Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. Yes, it's online as well.
On Amazon. So no, I guess the last question, so that I don't take too much of your time is what are your words of wisdom and advice for those tuning in today?
My words of wisdom for me is just to look inside and reignite your flame for life. You have a purpose and there's a passion inside of you, and there are no limits. The only person that is limiting you is yourself. So believe in yourself, be an advocate for yourself, and step out of the box, step out of your comfort zone, and pursue a life that you desire so you can live with no regrets.
Like said, Dr. Radford, thank you so much for giving your time. Truly, wishing you all the best. As you
Thank you.
continue on your journey, you have really a divine gift of the voice, which uplifts. And obviously, we'll keep in touch. And for those of you that are tuning in, please do reach out. You never know if you need to take that next step. It's always easy when you have someone who's already walked that path that saves you
Yeah.
a lot of pain and suffering along the
Yes.
way. So, thank you for your time and yeah, catch you maybe in another episode if you choose to
Okay.
come on
Thank
again.
you so much. Yes, I enjoyed it.